Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Our campaign is Masked of Nyarlathotep. It was written by Larry DiTilio, Lynn Willis, Mike Mason, Lynn Hardy, Paul Fricker, and Scott Dorward, and it's available from Chaosium. Our game master is Morgan Llewellyn, and this is episode 9. Our recap will be done by Zane Fleming as his character, Christopher LeBeau. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Zane?
Dear Theo, I find myself driving in the countryside in a two-seater Bamford and Martin roadster with one of my Peru companions, a Dr. Frederick Chapman. One of Fox's friends here in town was kind enough to lend us the use of his vehicle so Chapman and I could visit Harvard, while the others go to Miskatonic University. Chapman was kind enough to agree to drive so I could write this letter to you. Since my last correspondence, we have met with a lot of people and answered a few questions, but also found many more to take their place. Hauser and I went to Harlem to find out more about the 8 other murders that matched Jackson's. The local library had the paper clippings, and Hauser was able to get all the names of the victims. On our way out, I took a trick from my book that I use from time to time in New Orleans and spoke to a shoeshine boy. I asked him about Hilton Adams, the poor man accused and charged for these murders by Captain Robson, who absolutely stinks of a corrupt cop, and I haven't even met the bastard. Sorry, I know I shouldn't jump to conclusions like that, but I can't sit by while another innocent man hangs for a crime he didn't commit. The shoeshine told me that none of the locals believed for a second that Adams killed these people. In fact, Hilton and his friends were attempting to catch the killer, or killers. I left my card with the boy, and I hope he puts me in touch with Hilton's friends. We caught up with the others at a meeting with Dr. Lemming, who believes all the markings cut into the victims are African in nature, but has never seen the exact marking before. Nice enough guy, but my God, he would not shut up. Our next stop was at Emerson Imports. We talked to the foreman, who said Jackson had been asking about a Silas Nkwane, whose name we'd found on the back of a card in Jackson's room. The foreman said Silas gets things imported from an Aha Singh from Mombasa. The foreman made a point to comment that Silas gave him the creeps. He has a curio shop in Harlem named Juju House. Now, if I've learned anything about places like that, we have plenty of them in New Orleans, is that they're more often than not bad news. I'm going to make sure we are cautious around this Mr. Nkwane if we cross paths with him, which I have a bad feeling is inevitable. The funeral was a somber occasion. I swear, Theo, I will catch the bastards who did this to Jackson if it's the last thing I do. After the funeral, we met with the reporter, Rebecca Schosenberg, and organized to meet her on the 19th. We've also been asked to meet with Carlton Ramsay, Jackson's lawyer, to discuss the contents of Jackson's will. That night, we trained to Arkham. It was pleasant enough, first class, thanks to Fox. We met with an Australian professor, Professor Cowles, for breakfast at his home. An extremely nice man. He spoke to us about the Cult of Darkness, also known as the Cult of the Sandbat, based in his home country of Australia. It definitely sounded like the kind of thing Jackson would have been interested in. After breakfast, our party split up, as I said. I will update you soon. I hope you are well, my friend, and hope that you are able to join me and my companion soon. I believe you would be a great asset to the team. Your particular set of skills would come in handy, and I know you and Jackson got along well last time he visited, so you would like to get to the bottom of this just as much as the rest of us. Give my best to Slayton. Your friend always, Christopher.
All right, so we'll go ahead and kick things off with the 3 of you that stay behind to do some research at Miskatonic. The university's library is vast. It's a Sunday. There's not a whole lot of people here today, but it is still open. So how would you like to proceed?
I think our best bet, at least to start, would be to talk to the man in charge of the, if he's here today. It is Sunday. Hopefully we're not out of luck.
There's always people studying in the libraries all through the weekend.
Sure.
Usually.
But the head librarian's not always going to be here 24 hours a day. Help me remember, what exactly are we looking for? We're trying to find what this symbol could possibly mean.
Any sort of connections with the African death cults, the symbols, their histories of migration abroad, just not throughout Africa, but to other continents, perhaps here even.
Right, and they have a large occult section here. Let's just go see who we can get a hold of and talk to.
Yeah, it's a big university. I'm sure they'll have at least someone knowledgeable.
Can I have a luck check from whichever one of you has the lowest?
Lowest luck.
Oh, I think that might be
Just
I've
do
got
it for-
41.
Hair Fox. Luck, yeah, 60 right now.
Yeah, mine's 55.
Got a 46.
Ooh, so
My
when you
luck is at
when
41.
you flag down a librarian, ask if the head librarian is in. She said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Dr. Armitage left just an hour or so ago.
Oh, what a shame.
Just missed him."
Well, we've
there's
traveled
anything-
here. Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. We've traveled here from New York. We had a friend who recently passed away. He's an author. He's been doing some research on certain occult groups. We actually weren't intending to be here, but we know that Miskatonic has quite an extensive knowledge base of occult and cult-related stuff. Do you have a section on religious cults, especially cults that are somewhat, along the Thugi line? The death cults and the blood cults.
Oh well, yes, I'm sure that we do. And she points you in the right section. I'm no expert on those matters, but if you do find that you are struggling, I'd be willing to go try to track down one of our professors.
Oh, that would
See
be
if they
phenomenal.
Could assist you.
Yeah, especially any professor that might know something about cults, bizarre religious cults.
Okay, well I'll go see who's in.
Thank you.
If anybody's on campus today.
And we'll just be here wandering about.
Oh yeah, I'll dive right into the areas that seem most reasonable to search in the library with my background in researching such.
I've heard they have quite an extensive rare book collection. I'm not sure that they'll let you into that, but
If we could get permission, I'm sure maybe we could arrange a time where we could look at that.
All right,
we'll
so
see
we'll,
if we
she's off. So I'm going to have you all make a library use check. But given the constrained nature, you only have so much time before you have to get back on that train. You're going to need a hard success to find this in time.
Yeah, I failed miserably. All I can find is a copy of The Lady Falls Backwards.
17 out of 70.
Woo!
On fire.
Is that an extreme success?
It's just a hard. Oh, did we need an extreme or?
No, you needed a hard.
Okay, yeah.
An extreme will let you find it faster.
Okay, yeah. But hard. It's close to extreme, but 14's extreme. I got a 17.
Oh, come on. You got luck.
So basically, so just to elaborate a bit further, with this hard success, by the time you just find this out, the other two will have come back and you're pressed to get on the train. Whereas with an extreme, you're gonna find it with
it really will be. Okay,
it's gonna
please.
be.
Thank you for letting me know. Do I have the option now to burn?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, I would like to burn the 3 luck right now. I'll do so immediately.
All right. So
There we go.
so you start pulling down text. All of you are poring over books. The librarian eventually returns with the professor of folklore, who sits down with Hauser and starts kind of bouncing ideas off. And when he kind of you sketch the symbol for him, kind of looks at it and he's like, I saw the other day, was looking into this. Actually reminds me of some Egyptian, and he leads you into this line that you weren't quite considering at first. And you discover the following. Right, this mark, or this rune, seems to be descended from a religious sect that was driven out of dynastic Egypt. And beyond that, your continued digging, the professor can't help beyond sending you on that right path, but you find that there is a cult known as the Bloody Tongue that is believed to have originated in Kenya, although whether or not it exists to the current day is unclear.
So what you're telling us is that it was a cult that began in Egypt and moved to Kenya?
It was driven out of Egypt.
Of Egypt.
At least the belief systems, the traditions that eventually spawned the Bloody Tongue, this cult in Kenya, can trace its lineage back to people that were forced out of ancient Egypt.
And this is in reference to the symbol, the carved symbol.
Yes, this symbol is associated with the Bloody Tongue.
In
It's
poor Jackson's.
Is there anything you can tell us about this cult? What they're after, or what they believe, or are there books that have such information?
So the professor thinks, and he says, any books that I know of that are I think. Well, any books that I'm aware of that would cover such details, I believe, are currently in the hands of private collectors. I did hear say there was a book I've been meaning to go read over at Harvard. The title escapes me. Last time I checked, they didn't have it.
I see.
But if you contacted them, I'm sure they'd be able to. It was about African cults.
I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I get this correctly here now. The cult that is from Kenya, the Bloody Tongue, I believe, it at one point was in Egypt and was driven out.
The group of people whose descendants created the Bloody Tongue.
Okay.
Came from Egypt.
Got it. Might you know, was it called that there? In Egypt?
The cult of the Bloody Tongue? No. There's no indication of that cult name, the people in Egypt that were driven out. You can't find what their name was.
All right. Okay, so this is good. Danke. Thank you very much.
How long have you been professor of folklore here?
Oh, about 10 years. I'm one of the newer ones.
Have you ever been, do you ever recall speaking with I can't remember what Carlisle's first name is. Paul?
Robert?
Mr. Carlisle. No, but I did, I was following their expedition very closely.
Yeah.
Sad what happened to those.
Well, it seems when a number of pieces of information have a strong correlation, you must pay very close attention, because you might be onto something. And I sort of relate to him the recent tragedy that we've suffered, and who Jackson Elias was to us, and perhaps he knows who he is as an author. But in any case, he seemed to have some information concerning the Carlisle expedition. And we have recently been associated with that symbol. Now you're telling us that symbol has both Egyptian and Kenyan ties. I'm just curious if Carlisle did any research here, or if he asked you any questions, and you say you haven't.
No, I was, I guess, fortunately not asked to consult, given how that all ended.
We're trying to retrace some of the steps of the Carlisle expedition.
Well, if you're going to retrace their steps, I guess you would go to England. The Penhew Foundation is still there. I'm sure they might be able to.
Yes, it's probably
shed some
on our
insight
schedule.
into.
Is it possible to see if anyone from their group checked research books out from here? Perhaps would that be worthwhile? This is a pretty renowned library.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if Penhew himself had quite an extensive
Yeah,
private collection, as
yeah.
you say.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, the Penhew Foundation has quite the fantastic private collection.
Excellent.
Of material. Yeah, and I'm sorry to hear about your friend, but I mean, gentlemen, if I'm going to be honest with you, the fact that such an obscure cult symbol would be carved into his head is, especially here in New York,
Yes.
quite baffling. Somebody, I guess, whoever had it in for him was quite a scholar, if I may say, to have dug this up.
Well,
Yeah, it's just not him that was killed
perhaps,
like
except that most of the victims that have had similar markings are from Harlem, and so the connection between the large black population of Harlem and Kenya is obvious. Maybe there's a cult that's moved in from Kenya into Harlem.
A cult. Once again, I would be hard pressed to go along with that theory, but if you are, interested in occult objects and curios from Africa, I know I have a few things in my office that I got picked up in a quaint little shop that was recommended to me by a colleague, a juju house. It's a small business. Just
You're familiar with
African
Mr.
trinkets and
Mr. Silas Nakwanye.
Oh yes, he's a lovely old man.
An old,
very
lovely
kind.
And
yes, I just have a few things from him. I'm sure he might be able to correct you or dissuade you of any cult operation.
I'm afraid we're somewhat pressed for time. We have a train going back to New York that we're going to have to leave for soon, but would it be possible for you to show me some of these artifacts and perhaps tell me about them?
Oh, of course. Please accompany me to my office.
Thank you so much.
And as we're walking towards the office, I lean over to Morris and I say, if we can find out at least some information about these objects that he's acquired from Mr. Nakwanye, then we can go to the juju shop and tell him that we are looking for this and that. We'll have some background knowledge so that we can go into his shop and pretend to be customers.
It gives us a reason to be there at the very least.
Yeah.
Still don't know how exactly he's connected to all this.
I don't either, but
could be walking into the lion's den there.
I can't believe I thought it was a jazz club.
It's odd that from the Emerson imports, their impression of the gentleman from the Juju house was quite the opposite of the impression that this gentleman here has got from him.
Well, some people don't like old people. I don't know. let's form our own opinions.
Of course.
Probably the best way to go.
So,
Yeah.
so the professor leads you in his office. He seems to only have like 2 or 3 items from the Juju house. Or any of you, do you have anthropology or occult at all?
Oh yeah, I study that. May I
go
take
ahead
a
and
picture?
I actually do too.
Is okay?
Of course, I'm more
I
interested
have
in
a
having
surprisingly deep knowledge of the occult for a sailor.
Yeah.
You know,
All right, well,
you pick
all
up
of you go
a few
ahead and
things.
make rolls for me.
Yep, I passed.
Oh
Nin-
my
99.
gosh.
Plus, we're going to ask him.
The vaunted. And now I won't get that for another 17 games. But
Yeah,
You get a
you
1?
rolled a 1, and to
I-
balance that out, I rolled a 99.
oh no.
So I got a 23 right in the middle. So well, more to one side than the other.
So, really, when he shows you the things that he has, there's and you guys were making occult rolls.
Yeah.
I
All
was
right,
doing
so-
archaeology.
Okay, so the people that so I guess Hauser, you recognize they are what he has are some fetishes that were used in kind of a ritual magic from different. Each of the 3 of them are from like a different African tradition, so they're not related to each other that closely. They're from different tribes, different beliefs. So seems to just be a kind of like a grab bag of a variety of African cultures. And he kind of walks through the ritual. There's nothing sinister about it. Kind of used for like healing and promoting, good harvests and what have you. Very, very benevolent things is what
These are
he shows you.
fascinating. Absolutely.
Is there? I'm trying to think of something that I would be able to ask at the Juju house. So, Professor, is there something that you're looking for that you haven't been able to find yet?
Well, recall from my last visit. 1 second. We'll give you something.
This is what I'll ask at the Juju house. Sounds like
he has hanging towards the back of his shop, and he has one around him. It's a shuka. It's worn by a Masia tribesman. If he has any more of those, I would love to get one.
it's a kind of a mask.
It's a blanket.
A blanket. Okay. Yeah. Well, Professor, you've been very helpful. We will probably be back in contact with you. I'm sorry, what was your name? Because you didn't tell us. Oh, trying to make one up. Professor Bernard Heisenfasen.
Ah,
Perfect.
thank you, mein Herr.
Sir.
All right. And then I guess we'll leave unless there's something else we want to do here.
So, with you guys having done that, we'll go to Frederick and Christopher. Who, after a bit of a drive, will have you arrive at Harvard.
All right. What was the name of this lady we're meeting again, Freddie?
I had it written down. Dagnabbit. Miriam Atwright. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess let's go to the front office. I don't know. I don't know universities that well. Do they have a front office?
So you figure if Jackson was looking for a book, he probably contacted the library. So that'd be a fine place that I need to start.
Yeah,
Alright.
let's head to the library.
Okay. So
Front desk should be able to tell us.
Yeah.
All right,
Get on over.
so you walk in, and if I'm not mistaken, it's the Widener Library? I think it's Harvard's library. Yes, the Widener Library. There are kind of clusters of students reading through material, writing, and just you see one librarian behind the desk, and she kind of smiles at you as you approach, and she says, "Gentlemen, can I help you?"
Yes, we're looking for a Miriam Atwright.
Oh,
Is
well,
she in?
that's well, yes, that would be me.
Oh,
I
delightful.
don't know. Do I know you?
No.
No, you were corresponding with a friend of ours. Jackson
Yeah.
Elias?
Oh, no, Mr. Elias. Yes, what can I...
So we are looking. Jackson has run afoul of some people, and he's no longer with us.
Oh, good
And
heavens.
yes, it was a shock to us as well. And we're just trying to tie up some loose ends and try and get a broader sense of what exactly happened. And well, he was asking you about a book.
Yes, it was Africa's Dark Sex.
And is the nature of the letter? You stated that the book was not here.
Yes, I don't know quite how to put it, but as far as we can tell, it's disappeared.
Huh. Do you think it was stolen?
Well, no, there were no signs of break-in that was investigated just a couple months ago. We were just the room where that book is kept. It was just missing from the shelf. Nothing else was disturbed. There was just some strange smell we couldn't place, but.
Huh.
Could you
smell.
could you describe the smell in more detail? Was it floral?
No, other than I've never smelled it before. I hope I never smell it again. It was awful. Kind of acidic, I guess.
Whenabouts did you guys notice it was missing? When you went looking for it for Jackson? Was that when you realized it was gone?
when he asked us about it, it was already missing. It was missing before he had ever asked.
Right. So this happened
several months ago.
Right. Okay. Do you have by any record of who was the last person to check the book out?
She goes and well, let's see. There was Timothy Thorne here. He was finishing up his graduate studies, and she's just reading off this list of graduate students, and they're very, very sporadic. Like the last person who have checked this out was like a year before it was taken.
Okay. So we can't even talk to him.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea of what Do you know the name of the author of the book, or do you know anything about what's inside the book other than the title?
No, I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm not don't have complete knowledge of every book that we have here.
Right.
You can see what information is in the card catalog, but
I guess if that's not too much trouble, I'd love to.
no,
Certainly.
no trouble at all.
Chris, while you're looking at that, could you point me to the was it are your books organized by category here, or is it
Yes.
Dewey Decimal?
Dewey Decimal, I think.
Right. Okay. Could you point me to the section that it was in?
Yes, that would be religious studies.
Right. Thank you.
Which is that.
And I'm going to look for any books that might be similar.
Well, you can find plenty of. There's plenty of material.
Okay.
That you could spend all sorts of time on if you would like. But
All right. Well, I'm gonna pick 5 books specifically pertaining to Kenya. And
all right, you can make a library.
all right. That's what I was going for. Ooh. That's a 10. Yeah, that's an extreme.
Is that an extreme? So
That is an extreme.
you find out the same information the others did.
Okay.
The books that you grabbed, you find this mentions this group of people that were forced out of Egypt. There are some ties to a cult of the bloody tongue in Kenya, which is associated with this symbol.
Okay.
Do I get anything from the card catalog?
You find in the card catalog, Christopher, you find that Africa's Dark Sects it was written by Nigel Blackwell.
Okay.
And it was published in 1920.
Okay, so it's relatively new.
Yeah.
Okay, Nigel Blackwell, 1920. Yep.
And it's a little brief for it. It talks about ritual practices of African cults.
Okay, so definitely something that Jackson was going to be interested in. Okay. Well, I'll thank Miriam, and I'm going to go catch up with Frederick. I mean, 7 months ago is a long time, but is there any chance of me seeing, like, if is there a window near the shelf where it is? Is there any signs of break-in or anything I can see?
So
smell?
this particular book, Miriam will tell you this. When we acquired it, there are only 13 known copies of it in existence.
Oh,
The print run was burned actually in a fire. So there are only 13 known copies. So we keep it in our rare books room.
right.
Where she shows you, it's like on a second floor and locked. It's
Yeah.
pretty heavily secured.
Do you have
she'll
any?
here, there shouldn't be any problem. Just showing you, and she lets you in.
Yeah.
And yeah, she just shows you there's. And it's just this empty
Space.
this empty place for it was just right here. Very surprised. We were all baffled that there are far more valuable books here.
Okay.
Why this one? Any to take?
Is there a window nearby?
No,
Okay, so there's no windows. All right. Is there? I mean,
it's not next to any exterior walls.
Right. And
Chimney.
there's no smell left.
No smell. This was months
Okay.
ago.
Well, it seems like they definitely knew what they were looking for. Like they've gone to, especially if there's a lot of expensive books in this room, and the only thing that's missing is this one book. Do you by any chance have knowledge of who would have another copy?
Private collectors. I don't know of any other libraries in the region that would have a copy.
Well, thank you so much for your help, and we appreciate it all, and we must be on our way. We've unfortunately got a train to catch back in Arkham, but we appreciate your assistance.
Oh well, I'm glad I can help, but once again, I'm sorry about your friend. Hopefully this I guess help you find some closure or play off whatever. I wish I could provide the copy so you could help tie the rest of his works out. I'm sure telling me he was an author, I understand, trying to finish up the last of his works possibly for publication.
Yeah.
No,
if you
I'm
do
sorry.
hear anything else or anything you think we might be interested in hearing, please contact us and I'll give him my card. You can reach me, you can reach someone at that number and they'll get in touch with me. If you think of anything else or the book turns back up or for whatever reason, just give me send me some letter and I'll get back to you.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I'll make sure to do that if I hear anything.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Miss Atwood.
And we'll, I guess, go back to the car and make our way back to Arkham.
Christopher, did you see anything in the rare books room?
Nah, I mean, it's, well, a lot of rare old books, but there's no windows, so, you know, no one could get in that way. I mean, she's saying there's disappeared, but all the connections of this one book, there's a lot of expensive books in there, and it's just this one's taken. It's a relatively new book. She said there's only 13 in existence, and the rest were all burned, whatever. So it sounds like this book had the information that both Jackson and ourselves need, and someone's run off with it. Maybe Kensington can track down someone who has another copy. Worth asking him when we get back. Yeah.
I did find reference to our forehead inscription.
Oh.
Yeah, it appears to belong to a cult of the bloody tongue. Some such. Yeah.
And where are they based? Where are they from?
Around Kenya, but the lineage throughout the cult can be traced back to Egypt. Very ancient Egypt.
The Carlisle expedition goes to Egypt, does some stuff there, and then heads off to Kenya. And then now our friend Jackson's looking into the Carlisle expedition, and this marking, which pertains to a cult in Kenya, turns up on his forehead.
Yes.
I think our friend Jackson was definitely onto something.
Well, yeah, we'll see what the others managed to dig up.
Yeah. Do you mind driving back as well?
Oh, I suppose the roads aren't as bad as in around New York. They've been plowed a little bit more. I miss sand.
Frederick and Morris, can I have you both make education rolls?
Okay. I'm going to burn 2 luck and make that a success.
I've rolled an extreme.
There we go.
Okay, so Frederick, you're driving back and you're like,
focusing heavily on the roads.
Colt of the bloody tongue. Like, why does that, like, something? It's like tickling something in the back of your head. You can't really remember. Morris, while you're waiting with the others for Frederick and Christopher to get back, it kind of you were reminded of back in Peru. you know, the symbol in Jackson's forehead, you recall, reminded you a bit of Larkin's tattoo. And when you're thinking back on that tattoo, that weird, at the time you thought that weird spiral shape in that man, you just get this distinct impression that maybe that was a tongue.
I will impart that to Fox and Grunwald. It's just the mention of bloody tongues. I
don't
sure
really
it was
recall
something like
the tattoo. Did I even see it? Maybe not.
that.
No, only
did.
Morris and Frederick did.
Yeah.
There's definitely something tying this all together. The Carlisles went to Egypt. Then they went to Kenya on the presumably for hunting. And then they were accosted by some tribesmen who supposedly murdered them all, but their bodies were never recovered. And now we see this symbol. It shows up here in New York and in Harlem.
And the supposed culprits of the murders here have been rounded up and scheduled to be executed, but it doesn't seem like they are the actual culprits.
Well, the one
I'm
fellow.
wondering if the ones in Kenya have the same thing. Maybe they're not the actual culprits.
You know, if and I forget his name, the fellow who's been locked up.
Adam Hilton, or Hilton Adams.
Hilton Adams.
Mr.
He's
Hilton.
scheduled to be executed in just a couple of weeks. We need to see him in Sing Sing prison.
Yeah, and maybe if he was working, here we are, a group working. Maybe he had a group of friends that he was working with there. I think didn't somebody say that they were working on?
Exactly. It was a group. It was Hilton Adams and some friends were trying to get to the bottom of this.
So find out who these people are and talk to them. And I mean, I don't know that we can do anything for Mr. Hilton. We can try, but at the same time, we need to find out what they were onto.
Exactly.
And not get killed.
At least we can, not like it would help much, but let him know we will carry on his work.
I think when we get back together with our friends and get on the train, we should actually think seriously about the kind of messes that we could get ourselves into and do something about it before it happens.
Precisely, and not get caught like Jackson did.
I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that if I get tied up, I'd sure like to have a pocket knife hidden on my person that I can get to.
We should not be by ourselves like Jackson was.
I agree. We should never go anywhere in anything less than a pair.
Exactly, agreed, Morris.
Maybe even some dirty tricks. I don't know. Just something. Yeah, no walking down any dark alleys in Harlem.
So when Frederick and Chris get back, hopefully we'll get on the train together and then make it in time for the reading of Seville, right?
Yeah, we should be back in time. Oh, there they are. I see them. So what'd you guys find out?
Well, we've got the name of the book.
Oh, you got
it was stolen. The name of the book. And I did some reading around in the library. And I turned up, well, the symbol belongs to a cult of the bloody tongue.
Yeah.
Oh.
We ran across a folklorist and he told us what it was.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the book in question, the Africa's Dark Six,
That's with a C and a T.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was written by Nigel Blackwell,
Was it
and it was
Blackwell?
written in 1920.
Well, that's not long ago.
But there's only 13 copies in existence.
Well, I wonder if Mr. Blackwell still exists. I'm sure he does. We could see if Kensington can locate him.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But anyway, we should probably. Is the train almost here? We're going to get back to meet Rebecca Schosenberg.
Oh, only 13 copies, you say?
Only 13 copies. The rest. There was a fire. They burned the rest or something. I
Ah,
don't know.
jeez, that probably means the publishing house is destroyed.
Yeah.
Possibly. Awfully convenient, though.
Yeah, we
It
think.
happens. You're talking
well,
about
we
buildings
think-
that are filled with paper.
Well, if this book, there's only 13 copies in the world, the one copy gets stolen out of here.
So somebody was looking for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's connected with a group of individuals that, cult or not, have no problem killing someone.
Yeah.
Oh well,
This is no
maybe we
coincidence.
don't know. We don't know that if that cult had anything to do with stealing the book at this
Fair,
point.
fair.
But it certainly wouldn't be surprising, would it?
It reeks of conspiracy.
Yeah. Well, maybe Erica will know something. She of course tried to track down her brother.
You might even have a copy. The librarian said that it would be private owners that would have it. So
Maybe I don't know that Erica has any interest in that sort of thing at all.
Has your people talked with her people yet, Herr Fox, on meeting?
I'll have to check when we get back.
That would
I'm
be
sure they'll arrange a meeting. I'm just not sure when it'll be. Probably in the next few days.
that would be very good to review the will and definitely meet with the reporter though before this.
Well,
Yeah.
especially we've got to find out what the situation is with this Hilton Adams.
Now, it's possible that the police just chose a scapegoat to Fry, but now that we're seeing all of this shit going on, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody in that Harlem police force was corrupt.
I think
Agreed.
without a shadow of a doubt.
Everyone in
I think-
Harlem.
I think this Robson that they're talking about.
We need to
The
be
fact that-
careful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we should go anywhere alone. Got to stick
No.
together.
We
were
were just saying we
yeah.
need to arm ourselves and make sure that we're, have some contingency plans. Hide a few
Yeah.
knives up in my beard here so that I can pull them out of it.
Razor blade in the mouth.
Razor blade, yeah, put it in my hand like a Peaky Blinders.
Peaky
Like a
Blinders.
what
Never
now?
heard of them. Who are they?
All right.
It's a gang.
Window seat on the train.
Of course. I like the aisle seat because I get up to walk around a bit. 6 hours back.
I'll
Real.
take the other window seat.
Gentlemen, good move. I think we've got some information to go on.
Mhm.
Hopefully we can find out. Jesus Christ, we're getting all back into this with some crazy fucking cult.
Yeah.
But this time we are not blindsided.
That's true.
We are a bit more onto them.
Well, we were partially blindsided.
Our biggest problem is going to be this now. If, as we suspect, somebody on that police force might be in league with them, then it's going to be a little tricky to go in there and wipe them out without having the police throw us all in jail.
But Lieutenant
You think
Poole,
it'd be
Yeah, Poole.
possibly?
Lieutenant Poole is our man
We
in.
need to
he-
get Poole on our side.
We've also got the problem that if we decide that we want to try and find some way of talking to Adams, and I've no idea how you go about arranging to visit someone in prison.
Chris, I think that sounds like right up your alley, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's
You-
what I was gonna. I was gonna suggest. I don't know if there's any way you could potentially hire a decent lawyer, Fox.
I've got quite a few lawyers. Yeah,
I mean, because that's going to help Adams regardless. Question for the keeper: would it be possible for me to do a law roll to see if, since there was a murder after the ones that Adams was charged with, that match, there'd be reasonable doubt, so I could hold off his.
Could it be appealed?
Go ahead and make a law roll.
You'd
Yeah.
have to appeal it because
Yeah,
he's
could it
already
be
been
appealed?
condemned.
Yeah,
But even, yeah, good train of thought.
I can talk to the governor.
that is a 56. I will spend a luck to pass.
Okay.
I'm spending 4 luck.
So putting your lawyer cap on,
Yeah.
you start thinking like a prosecutor. Like, if you're going to try to make sure this guy gets the chair still, what would you do? And you lead to lines of thought where if the authorities are convinced that he secretly had an accomplice he never gave up,
Mm-hmm.
or if this is simply an imitation, like if they could spin it where these young men, took some malign inspiration from these past killings when they did it,
Right.
he's still not off the hook. So it's not the fact that there has been a murder after it. While it would give him a strong case to make an appeal, it's not such a clear cut, he's definitely free now situation.
No, but it would give us
but there is
time.
but in fact you could delay his execution.
Right. So that's what I'm
With an appeal.
thinking.
And worse,
So what I'm thinking is if we can tee that up, if we can get Adams a decent lawyer, and we can come at them with this, hey, there's enough reason for an appeal, which is going to slow down the process, give us some time. What I want to try, because a smoking gun is basically what we need to get Adams off. So we need to meet with Adams, get him this proper lawyer, and Hauser, I need your help. Because you, I know you're good with a camera. If we can somehow get some images of Robson's corruption, maybe taking money from someone he shouldn't or something along those lines, if we can get that information, which I know with your research and stuff, we can find it. We can get that, then he's the one who charged him.
that is true, but that is opening an awfully large can of worms there.
This can was opened when they killed Jackson, in my opinion.
I think you might be we've got to be way more careful on doing anything in opposition to the police.
Yeah, getting to the bottom of this is one thing, but trying to rat out and hunt down all of the corruption could get us all killed.
Well,
Quickly.
and also if he's been framed for this, there's a high likelihood that the cult's involved in framing him and pinning it on him.
Mm.
And
Because he was
just to get him out of the way. And so if we start showing any interest in him, in his case,
Yeah, we need to find Jackson's, Adam's friends, the ones he was supposedly going around with, and because they were supposedly trying to.
does he have any relatives? We could perhaps try and find Adam's family.
It might be good to at least broach the subject of looking into some additional information on the murders, just to warrant a talk with Adams.
Hmm.
Because otherwise, I'm not sure if we'd be granted a talk with Adams in the first place. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, if he's got family, if he does have relatives, the relatives would be able to.
Carrying on from your law roll, Christopher, if you were going to visit Adams in prison, because you're not police. You couldn't go in under the guise of investigation. If he agreed to it, you'd have to have somebody who can already contact him. Set that
So
up.
if he did have a family member,
What
or-
if I did this? What if I hired a lawyer? And have it presented as a benefactor, has presented the lawyer, without my name getting involved or anything like that, and have him at least stop. I mean, I could contact Al Smith to the governor and see if he can do a stay of execution, because we strongly suspect he's innocent. Now, if Al Smith is actually part of this cult, we're fucked, because he's the governor of the state. But I don't think it goes up there that far. I could be wrong. Good God, I could be wrong. We could at least get him a stay of execution and hopefully get him out. I mean, if we think we really don't know that he's innocent, but we strongly
but at least if we
suspect.
can meet with him and get a gauge.
Right. Or at least get our lawyer to meet with him. And then
If I mean, because obviously I'm a private investigator by trade. So if I've been hired to investigate, that means nothing in the actual law system. Like the cops
Exactly.
they're
Right.
not going to care. Right.
the problem is he's already condemned. So
Yeah. Well, I think your lawyer idea is, I think that's a good way to go. If we
Yeah.
can try and get a meeting with him, whether he's got a family member or through the lawyer, then great.
there's probably some people to back that up too. His friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, heck, even the shoe shine boy,
That's what I'm
according to
saying.
him,
The locals were adamant that he didn't do it.
yeah,
I'm
it just
wondering,
wasn't one or two. It was the whole community knew this was a setup. So
do we need aliases if we go into Harlem and talk to his friends? Because they could finger us.
The thing that I'm thinking as well is, remember when we spoke to Rebecca about when we mentioned Robson's name and her reaction?
Who's Rebecca?
The reporter, Rebecca
Reporter.
Schoenberg, the one who
Oh, yeah.
he approached us at the funeral. We said she wanted to talk about Hilton, and she said an innocent man. So she believes he's innocent.
Well, then she might be another connection.
That's what I'm saying. If she's got contact with him, she could somehow, or she might know the family members.
yeah,
Her reaction was that this Robson guy, when we mentioned his name, she got mad. He's on the take.
yeah, he's at least he's on the take. Well, maybe not at least, but he just wants either a quick resolution to make his record look good,
That's
or at
probably
worst,
the case.
yeah, or at worst, he's involved in more
With the
nefarious
cult.
matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or he might be in between
Likely,
on the take.
most
I'll tell you what.
likely, he just wants a quick resolution.
Yeah,
If there's
Like the
any
whole-
connection between Robson and the Juju house, then if there's any connection between him and that place and this Silas guy, then he's going to be involved in the cult. That's too much of a coincidence.
and that's going to give Silas complete protection in the Juju house.
Exactly. That's why I'm cautious about rushing in to that place as well, because we know this guy's got connections with Emerson and Points. We know he's got connections with Mombasa, which we know was involved with the Carlisle stuff. I think
Yeah, but you
hold
know
our
what?
cards close to our.
Those connections are not absolutely solid. The folklorist guy that we talked to at Miskatonic, he had some little trinkets and things that he had gotten from Silas.
The Juju house.
You know,
Right.
they probably ship out all over the place, these little trinkets and stuff. So connection might be there, it might not be there.
Yeah, tenuous.
We know what we're guessing is that Jackson went to the import house looking for something, and that they told him to go to the Juju house and look there, that they might have something.
Oh, I
Not
thought
just-
he went there specifically asking about Silas.
Well, he had the name written on the back of his card.
That's what I mean. Did they send him there, or did they tell him?
Why would he have
why
the
he
name
was
written on the
important?
back of his card unless they were sending him there, or just said
True.
this is who you'd like to talk to? Obviously, that import house didn't have the kind of trinkets and artifacts from Africa that the Juju house has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the import house, they just deal in shipping and
They just ship everything in
Freight.
from Mombasa.
yeah.
One of us
they're
should go to
probably
the
insane.
Juju house, or a couple of us should go there. We got some interesting little tidbits of false information that we can play out there and tell them that we're looking for what was it?
Well, let's
Uh,
let's meet with Rebecca, find out what she knows about Hilton Adams and all that stuff going on. Then we'll go to the will reading,
right.
and then if one of us go,
Not one of us,
So the-
two of us at least.
sorry, so if a group of us go to look at the Juju house, and then the rest of us maybe go to Sing Sing and try and meet with Hilton.
Yeah, probably one or two to Sing Sing and the rest to the Juju house.
Yeah. Because then, have we heard anything from Erica Carlisle?
We got to wait until we get back.
Right.
How
Um,
close is our train?
Well, it's a 6-hour trip, so
Oh,
I think we're on the. Aren't we on the
we're on
train?
the train.
yeah, we're on
Yeah.
the train. I just
Yeah.
wondering.
This
like,
is
how
where we spend
close-
the next three sessions worth of in-game time.
On the
Yep.
train.
Just on the train.
What I think though is if we get
Playing I
all of the
Spy.
information we can, we meet with all of the players before we rush in guns blazing. You know, let's get the information down before.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there might not even be anything to rush into at the Juju house, but
Yeah.
but it sure seems fishy though.
I wonder what kind of stuff they got there. I'm not really into African artifacts, so I just don't know. I know they got a lot of different kinds of masks and
What
Well, I
was
took
the
little fetishes.
what was the name of the rug thing you mentioned?
That was a Maasai shuka.
Shuka.
Yeah, I think it's just like a red piece of cloth,
Huh.
like a blanket.
Red piece of cloth.
They throw it around themselves, and
Could it be wrapped around the head?
I don't know. From what I understand, the only thing I know about the Maasai is that they're fairly docile people, very very calm, but they drink blood. The bloody tongue. I mean, your tongue would be bloody, wouldn't it, if you drank blood?
True.
I think they drink blood and milk from the cows.
Interesting.
That I didn't even make that leap until just now. Holy crap! But the Maasai seems so peaceful. From what I
You never know.
I took some good pictures of the trinkets,
The trinkets.
so we can maybe bring one or two of the photos to the Juju house, trying to identify them there maybe, or see if we could.
Tell him that we're looking for some similar artifacts, some
Yeah.
similar items. See what he has in stock. See if he can order them for us from. That might be helpful too if he actually were to say something like, "I'll order them from the such and such place in Mombasa." That might be his connection in Mombasa.
Maybe.
People-
Yeah, I think maybe use aliases when you go to the Juju as well.
Should we carve a crude image of the room that was carved into Jackson's forehead into a piece of wood or stone? I can take a crude photograph of it and then say, do you have something like this? Innocently asking.
I feel like that's showing the cards a little bit.
Well, we
Yeah, I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Okay, just an idea. I'm just brainstorming here.
Because
Well,
also keep
you
in mind,
know-
Dr. Lemming didn't know that symbol.
Well,
Yep.
So
but
it's
this
not a yeah.
this rune has been identified from precisely in Kenya now.
Yeah, originally
know,
from Egypt. Yeah.
Professor Heisenfazen, one of the things that he was collecting was little fetish dolls from Africa.
Okay.
And what if we were to talk to this Mr. Nkwanye and tell him that we're looking for the Maasai fetish doll, this fetish, and one that translates as the bloody tongue, and see if he knows anything about such a thing, or if he can get such an item and where to get it.
Maybe.
See how he reacts. If you're gonna drop the name, watch him closely, because if he's a member of them,
I feel
it's not
that
gonna go
that's
down well.
yeah, that's less of an on the nose approach than the inscribed rune.
I'm wondering if we found out how you would say that in Kikuyu or something like that from the original Kenyan language instead of in English. If that word might have a reaction from some people, I don't know.
Maybe. In fact, if you find the pronunciation for that, or translation, and then pronounce it badly, that's an even safer option.
So just to clarify, who's going to come to Sing Sing with me, and who's going to go to the Juju house?
Well, we got to even see if we can get into Sing Sing.
I think the first meeting is the will, right? That's where we're going immediately.
No, Rebecca.
So we'll talk to Rebecca.
So Rebecca and
then
Will.
the will.
Do the will.
And then we can do group huddle.
Yeah, and then let's
see what to do next.
Find a plan.
And see when we can tee something up with
I
Erica
will then,
Carlisle.
at that point, I will also see what I can find out about Erica.
Excellent.
See if I can even talk to the governor on the phone, tell him what the situation is. I mean, certainly.
Do you think he knows?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's one thing out of a million things going on in New York City. But if I tell him that, it warrants a stay of execution, it doesn't mean he's going to be released from prison, but they won't execute him at least.
It gives us time.
It gives us time.
Which is also, make sure you call your lawyer when you get back.
Also, depending on how the governor reacts, that could cue us into whether or not he's a part of the cult too.
Shouldn't it be?
If he is, we're in trouble.
If he is, we just leave.
You might as well imagine the president of the United States being a member.
We go to Mexico.
Wouldn't we be better off getting in touch with Adam's lawyer rather than your lawyer?
Well, does he even have a lawyer after he's been condemned?
Well, yeah. If he wasn't able to get one, they would have given him possibly a corrupt one or skipped through it.
I'm just thinking my lawyer is going to be a better lawyer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, Adams' lawyer's not done too much for him since he's still in there. He's still on death row.
But he is his lawyer, though. He's his mediator.
Yeah, but if he's corrupt, he's not going to tell him he wants to see him at all.
But we don't know that he's corrupt.
We don't know if anyone's corrupt.
No, we don't. We don't know if this Hilton fellow is actually on the level, or if he's.
But at least if we do it our way, we know we've got time.
Right.
So get what's going on.
We're really going for. I'll contact Sal Bomberg. He's my lawyer. He's one of my lawyers.
Excellent.
He's the lawyer that I use if I have to go to court.
And who knows? Sal might know who Adam's lawyer is and know if he's.
Oh, I'm sure he could find that out without any trouble.
That's what I'm saying. He can then get in touch with
him
anyway.
He might even consider doing it. No, I'm not even going to ask him that. I'll pay him.
Lawyers.
He might.
Do you think they all just return home to their sit there, hive, and sleep once the day is over?
Well, that sounds a good one. He does a certain percentage of what is it?
Pro bono.
Pro bono, because
Yeah.
it's part of his religion, I think. He's Jewish.
Yes. Good.
That they always have a certain percentage they do for free because it's part of their religion. Sounds
Wonderful.
good to me. Honest
Uh-huh.
lawyer.
If he's
Okay.
good enough for you, he's good enough for me.
I hope you get enough time to swing by, get a little cleaned up before the meeting.
Oh, certainly.
Sweating like a pig in here.
Oh, we'll have at least like 2 hours before the meeting.
Good.
Well, if it's
I-
hot, you can just crack that window there. That'll
You
cool
don't
off
mind?
real quick.
Actually,
Danke.
we'll have more than that because we're leaving in the late afternoon. We're going to be there probably about 10 in the night. We can sleep
Yeah.
and then go to the meeting
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Okay.
Miskatonic's a lovely campus. You guys should see that library.
Huh.
Lovely.
What's
Beautiful.
the architecture like?
Oh, geez. It's pretty nice. I think that
Is it Victorian?
I think it's older than that. I think it's established 17
Huh.
17
Cyclopean?
something. Some of the buildings are quite cyclopean, yeah. Few
Huh.
of them, few when you're in the library, you can really get lost because of all that non-Euclidean geometry.
Lots.
Huh.
I'm going to take a nap then. I'll be on the train for a little longer.
All right, yeah, you can all
I'll do
rest
the
up.
same. Yeah. Get some shut eye.
All right, so right back at your hotel in New York, we'll say around 1 a.m.
All right.
And Fox, in your room, there's a note from the front desk saying that you received a phone call while you were out. That's asking you to call back a one Mr. Bradley Gray, counselor representing Erica Carlisle.
Excellent. I'll call him in the morning because it's 1 in the morning.
Would you like to do that before you meet with the reporter?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Would you like to, or you want to call Bradley Gray before meeting with the reporter?
Oh, yeah, I'll call him probably around 7 or 8 in the morning.
Okay.
I mean, your lawyer should not be able to sleep for more than a few hours anyway. Not if they're good lawyers. I had a lawyer who I used to show up at his house about 3 in the morning every once in a while, and we'd do whatever business we needed to do. Him in his pajamas, me in my suit. Good lawyer. It's because I paid him 3 times as much as any other lawyer in the city. Well, except for like Rockefeller's lawyers and shit like that. I'm talking to myself in the mirror because the GM doesn't really exist. Octavius, you're such a handsome devil.
What's this about General Motors? I heard you say GM. It's the only GM I know.
All right. Sweet.
All right, so jump forward. So in the morning, call up was like, you've reached Bradley Gray.
Mr. Gray, this is Octavius Fox returning your phone call. Sorry I didn't get in until about 1 o'clock in the morning last night. I didn't want to call you then.
Not one of those nights, huh?
No.
Hey, look, listen, the reason for my call is I keep having your people wanting to get in touch with my client.
Oh, yes, I'd like to speak. I'd like to have a short meeting with Miss Carlisle. I have some interesting news.
Well,
for her.
there are plenty of people that have interesting news for my client. She's very busy.
Well,
and
I
I'm not
understand.
a man who's going to let somebody waste her time.
Well,
So,
you understand. I am Octavius Fox.
yeah,
Fox
I
family.
know who you are, Mr. Fox. Now, please, let's just speak man to man. Don't bullshit me here, Fox. What is it that you want?
I have information concerning her brother.
Her brother? You mean the one who's been dead for a couple of years?
That's correct.
And what would that be, sir?
I'd rather discuss it with her.
Yeah, there's not the first one. So you're going to need to give me a little more than just vague stuff about her brother. Sorry. That's direct orders from the boss.
Fine, thank you. And I hang up the phone. What I'm going to do is check the equivalent of checking the social media and seeing what events might be taking place in the next couple of weeks that Erica might attend, and I'll simply attend them along with her.
Oh, so Erica is known for throwing parties.
Yeah, like her brother.
Make a luck roll.
I've been to her brother's party, so that is a pass by 3 points. 38, 38. 3 points.
Well, there is one tonight.
Then I will go to that. I get to dress up in my bespoke outfit. So much for fucking lawyers. In the meantime, I'll also call Sal Bomberg, tell him the situation, see what he can do.
He says that he'll find out what he can about
Right.
the case and get back to you. See what he
Tell
can do.
him that I want to remain anonymous.
Of course, of course.
And I will pay him whatever. All right. And then I'll head off to wherever we're all going to meet.
Fox, morning.
Morning. So you wouldn't believe the runaround that I got this morning
What happened?
from Erica's lawyer. Erica's lawyer wouldn't let me talk to her. Mr. Bradley Gray treated me basically like a dick. So I'm going to go see her at a party tonight.
Okay. Well, I'll join you.
Fuck the lawyers.
Yeah. Maybe.
Well, that I'm not so sure you'd be able to pull off.
I'm sure I
Maybe.
can charm my way in.
Yeah, I don't know. These people are. We're talking about some of the richest people in New York.
You
Question.
remind me to introduce you to my friend Thea.
Hauser,
Yeah.
what's up?
Oh, question for the keeper. Would credit ratings, would we sort of have a general idea of other people's credit ratings? The reason I ask would be like maybe recommend somebody from our group with the highest credit rating that might go with Fox.
Okay, so to put it in perspective, Eric, like the Carlisle fortune, puts her at a credit rating of well over 90.
Yeah.
They are rich.
So someone that might be able to get in would be like 60 or higher or something like that. Or actually,
Yeah.
no,
Could I
that's
get,
metagaming. Sorry.
I'm a 70. Yeah.
Okay.
Would I be able to
Fox to get in, Fox could probably bring somebody with him
Would I be able to
if
call?
they were dressed up a bit.
Would I be able to call Theo and see if he could get me in?
No, this is more of a local New York type of deal.
Okay, cool.
So
Right.
although he's on the richer side of things,
Yeah.
he's a little too far outside of the social circle.
And he's a bit of an outsider as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's,
Eccentric. he's not going to be able to totally
I
assist
can. I've
you in
got.
that front.
I think I'm happy to try and charm my way in. I can dress up and then.
Oh
try
yeah,
and-
you dress up good, Chris.
Yeah.
You look good in a suit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can try. I'll take you in just as a guest. They'll
Yeah.
let me do that.
Look,
but,
if they don't let me in, they don't let me in.
I would put on my best New Orleans charm because you're gonna have to play up the fact that you're a New Orleans fella, because they'll immediately recognize your social status as being something different than what they're used to.
What size are you, Octavius? Out of interest.
I'm a 75.
I could fit. If you could lend me one of your nicer suits, I could fit that.
Yeah, I mean, well, we can go take a look.
Yeah.
I don't think you've been to my place.
No, but
I hardly been to my place.
I can slip into something. I can posh up my accent. Oh, I do declare, yes, of course.
No. You don't understand. If you try to do something like that, they will throw you out on your ear.
Yeah, okay.
You need to just be New Orleans
Yeah, Louisiana charm.
and no crudeness.
I can do that. For one night, I can do that. All right, so about that time, we should probably head off to meet with the reporter, right?
I believe that's first before the will reading.
I don't know what the hell's in our will.
Yeah, I'm surprised I'm in it. I mean, I was close with Jackson, but I didn't expect him to leave me anything.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Full of surprises, that man.
He might be leaving us more clues. You never know.
Maybe.
Mm.
Well,
He did take a lot of stuff from that temple in Peru, so maybe he's leaving some of that behind.
Fair.
Yeah, most of that was crap.
Well, I know some museums that'd be interested over West Coast.
Mm.
All right, well, let's get off to see that reporter.
Yeah,
Say your name was Ruth?
Rebecca Schosenberg.
Rebecca Schosenberg. All right. There's no more coffee left in my cup, damn it.
All right, so five of you arrive at the New York Times. The front desk directs you to the desk of Rebecca Schusenberg, and she's delighted to see you all. Like, oh, I'm so relieved you've come. Please. Thank you. I just but before we get started, I would hate to bore you with irrelevant details. What do you already know about?
Well, let's have a little talk before we talk.
She kind of looks around at a busy place. It'd be better if we talk somewhere else.
Well, I imagine, this is your scoop. They're not going to scoop anything on your scoop. So here's the thing. We don't want our names mentioned.
Okay.
All right.
It'll be off the record.
Off the record. I've got to call into the governor. I don't know if I'll be successful or not, but I'm going to try to get a stay of execution on Mr. Hilton, which should buy us some time. I've hired a lawyer who's going to look into it, who's also keeping our names out of it. We think that there may be that this may be a frame job.
So this lawyer of yours, what is he going to be doing?
Trying to get an appeal.
Well, yes, we definitely let's talk. So
All right.
So this whole situation, okay, these murders, they were occurring over Harlem. They were occurring across different precincts. The only link was that strange symbol in the forehead, and eventually it was all rolled up under Captain Robson of the 14th Precinct.
Right. And I don't know if you know this or not, but, we saw you at the funeral of Mr. Elias Jackson the other day. He also had that carved into his forehead.
Yes, I am aware.
Well, how would you
But
be
they had they had no. There weren't any leads until the night of that 8th murder when they arrested Hilton.
Now,
he
you
was
said he had
found-
friends.
He does have friends. If I was the one who mentioned that to you, I can't say. Millie doesn't have such a high opinion of them.
Millie?
Oh, sorry, Millie Adams. That would be Hilton's wife.
Okay, wife. All right. All right. So he does have family. Okay. Do you think Mr. Adams would be willing to meet with us?
Perhaps their hopes, the Adams' hopes of late have not been high. I will do what I can. If you would like, if you want to speak to Hilton, I can arrange that. If you would like to speak to his wife as well, I can arrange that.
I definitely would like to speak to his wife. Without, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you, Miss Schobenberg. I have reason to believe that Robson is not above board. I believe he's either trying to put a frame job on this Adams, or worse. From what I've heard around the streets in Harlem, most of the locals don't believe that Adams is the one who's done this stuff. And supposedly, his friends and him were trying to track down who was responsible. What can you tell me about Robson?
And can I interject one quick question about Mr. Robson?
Yeah, sure.
Is he a black fella?
No.
Oh, he's not a black fella. That actually makes more sense.
Yeah, he's not. No.
Yeah, so
he's in charge of Harlem, which is predominantly African American. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say, in your opinion, would you say Captain Robson is above board?
Look, have you ever been to Harlem? What was your Mr. LeBeau, if I recall?
Christopher LeBeau. Yeah, I went to Harlem. I'm from New Orleans.
Have you ever been there at night?
No, but I can imagine.
Look, the place is teeming with speakeasies, gambling. Look, the organized crime is all over that place, and it's a very lucrative business to be in, taking bribes. So if you're going to ask me if Robson is above board, I have to tell you I seriously doubt that.
Right. What all I'm asking, I'm saying, would you say he's a good cop?
No.
Right. That's all yeah. Well, look, if
no, I believe Hilton Adams is innocent and is framed. So we are in agreement, and I'm glad that we are, and I'm glad that you're willing to help.
If you could get me a meeting with either Hilton or his wife, I would appreciate that. If she can put me in touch with the friends that he was working with, again, I'd also appreciate this. Just so you know, I'm a private investigator by trade. This is what I do. All right. So
I'm a reporter. I'm very familiar with your line of work.
My friend Hauser, I work quite closely with Hauser. He himself is also a reporter. So this is
what paper? She seems to have some expression of professional curiosity now.
Oh, Zeitgrift Occultismus. Here's a card.
She kind of looks at it and occult, huh?
We do investigations, debunking, and investigating details from around the globe, wherever the stories may hit. We
And
go
she-
in with an open mind. We are not leaning one way or the other. We are just to investigate the curious.
And she looks over your card and she sets it with rather exaggerated care onto a stack of papers. But you get the distinct impression that she's probably not gonna.
Right.
Please, I will organize a meeting with the Adams. Not together though, of course. You'd have to go up to Sing Sing to see Hilton, and we'll
Yeah.
have to arrange a meeting spot around here to meet Millie. So
Millie. Okay. Do you know, by any chance, a place called the Juju House and a man named Silas and Kwane?
should I? And she writes those down.
Well, we found his name and the name of the Juju House in some of Jackson's belongings. From what we can tell, it is based in Harlem. Which obviously, that's where the other murders took place. We just think we're not saying there's a connection, but the name came up.
Intriguing. Oh, please, the sooner I can work, the sooner I can get these things set up.
All right. Well, gentlemen, do you have any more questions for Rebecca?
No,
Well,
I don't think so.
you have the address of the hotel we're staying at. If you can tee up those meetings for us, leave a message and we'll get back to you. We have to go to Jackson's will reading at the moment, but if you can tee that up, we'll catch back up with you.
Oh yes. Of course. Yes, I'll contact you as soon as I have things lined up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we leave.
Unless there was something else anyone else wanted to do.
No. But as we leave, I'm like, I don't trust reporters as far as I can throw them. She wrote down everything we said, every word, every name.
It's an ends to a means.
Problem is that you mentioned Nakwanye. I wouldn't be surprised if that poor girl just goes right out there and sees what's going on.
Well, if that is the case, if she's silly enough to do that and she rounds up dead, that answers one of our questions.
It'll be your fault, though.
Oh, it will. And I'm hoping she doesn't do that. I'm hoping she's not that silly.
Well, I hope she doesn't do any snooping around, but she's going to. She's a reporter.
Well, she's got some brains on her because she's smart enough to work out that there's something going on.
Well, that's true. Otherwise, she might go directly after. What's his name? Roberts.
Look, I don't think she's a smart enough reporter not to go directly to the source and confront them. If she's anything like Hauser, she'll do her research first. She'll keep in the shadows.
Yeah.
Let's go see what we can find out from Carlton about the will. That's what I'm really curious about.
Yeah.
See if that brings up anything pertinent.
I'm going to be really kind of pissed if what he tells us is basically do this, don't go there. We're like, oh, we wasted all of our time just running around when Jackson left us more clues to follow.
So if nobody's going to do anything before heading to Carlton Ramsay's office, then that's where we will go.
All right.
Okay.
That's good.
So his office actually happens to be in Harlem. It's a small there's really just enough room for him and his secretary. 2 small desks, bookcases with stacked with law books. He he has you all sit in this little. There's some chairs set up in the corner around a table. Thank you so much for coming, gentlemen. I don't know if it's really settled in for me yet that Jackson's gone, but
I imagine this is the hottest part of your job.
yeah. Well, and he from his desk he pulls out a bottle of bourbon and some glasses. Just I am a lawyer, and I can tell you there are some laws that I strongly disagree with. And he sets the glasses down and pours everybody one. Thanks, but
Salute.
I'm sure we're all very busy, so we'll get the we'll get the unpleasantries over with. So while Elias didn't tell me anything explicitly what was going on, I should have known something was up. I mean, he had changed his will the day before he died.
Really?
Yeah, he came in.
Huh.
It's rather unusual.
Did he seem erratic to you at the time?
Oh, he seemed maybe a little frightened, a little nervous. And of course, making modifications to one's will puts
right.
Death in the forefront of the mind, which can be a struggle for some. But interestingly enough, the 5 of you are all written in by name.
Well, wasn't really aware of any.
I wonder why the day before something must have happened quite recently.
Well, we know it did. He called us here. He called us at the hotel to tell us to go quickly. You know.
Yes, and I was talking to Jonah. Jonah knew he was going to come because Jackson sent him some telegrams from England, where he was doing some final researches there before coming.
So he was in England most recently.
Yeah,
yes.
Just before you got here.
That's where I believe he sent a telegraph to Jonah. He perhaps messaged all of you on his way over, crossing the Atlantic. So he starts reading the will. I'm just gonna briefly discuss the Elias has given me Carlton Ramsay complete authority to liquidate his assets. I have been instructed to use these assets to create and manage the fund. Elias requests that any of his friends who attend this reading make use of this fund to continue his investigation of the Carlisle expedition. I will make disbursements from this fund to pay for travel, accommodations, living costs, equipment purchases, legal bills, and medical expenses. Participating investigators should please send me any receipts that you can. I'm not just going to let you whittle away this fund as timely as you can. I am to be the central point of contact for everyone involved. Should the investigators split into multiple groups, I will coordinate communication between them. I will also assist with the recruitment of any necessary contractors for any special skills, or bolster your numbers should it be deemed necessary. I have a list of contacts of friends of Jackson Elias who can be contacted should the needs arise. the totality of the fund of his liquidated assets comes to a little over $50,000.
Wow. He's been sitting on that for a while.
Yes, he told me that he gathered it, came into quite a bit of gold after a trip to Peru. As I understand it. Quite a lot of gold, in fact. But of course, the last thing is this note that he wanted to be read upon his death. Greetings from beyond the grave. By now you know that all I've really left you by now you know that I've really left you all in a heap of trouble. If I were still around to have an opinion on the matter, I would understand if you decided to walk away from it all. Hell, if I'm dead right now, that'd be a good indication I would have done the same. But you know me too well, and I know you too well. If you were the kind of persons who I always believed you were, always did the sensible thing, we wouldn't be such good friends. You have been there when I needed you in the past, and I hope you will be again, even if it's too late to save me. I've been pulling threads all over the world, and while most of them are still unraveling, I think I'm onto something big. Carlton and Jonah can fill in more of the details for you. I've left some of my papers and notes with them, which should help you work out which hornet's nests you need to poke next. I trust you to bring my killers to justice, of course. I'm assuming I was murdered. It will just be plain embarrassing if I were run over by a trolley car. Follow my investigation to its bloody end, and seek out the truth. I'm not asking you to finish my book. None of you can write worth a damn. Your friend always, Jackson.
I can write papers.
I don't think Jonah would let us finish the book. Jonah would hire somebody professional to do it, but we can at least provide some more information once we get it. Keep a record of all this crazy shit. So you said that there were some papers that also he had.
Well, I don't know what those would be. I assume it was this. There was nothing else that was given to me.
I wonder if he's talking about the stuff that Kensington had.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, have you spoken
Possibly.
to him?
Oh yeah.
Yes, he's.
Yes, then. And I'm sure you've already read whatever it was that he intended. And now, for those of you who are not intending to walk away from this, as part of my duties to help coordinate, given the nature of Jackson's demise, if there is anybody you would like me to contact on your behalf, should news of any unfortunate events occur, please let me know.
Of course.
I hate to even think of it, but it's important to get matters straight before you're dead, because it's a little hard to do so afterwards.
Fair enough.
So if you think of anybody or of anything, please let me know. No rush, really.
Absolutely. Well, we've got your card, so we can call you.
Okay.
We absolutely intend on finding out who did this and stop them in the tracks.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. So you were the type of people he he thought you all were. And I know I haven't had a chance to meet many of you. I know I met Fox briefly during the publication of The Hungry Dead, but I'm sure if Jackson wanted you all here, then you are men that I respect.
Oh. Well, thank you very much, Carlton.
As please, any other drinks before you go?
Well, sure, we can do a toast to our friend,
All right.
to the good friends of Jackson Elias.
Yes. And that's where we're going to call it for tonight. Good spot.
All right, it's a good spot. Our players included Zane Fleming, Brian Daly, Mick Swan, Stuart Lively, and myself, with Morgan Llewellyn as the keeper of the secrets. We're currently producing up to 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. The costs fall with the show provided almost entirely by our patrons. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. If you'd like to support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 to a month helps us a lot. You can find a link in the description below. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch that bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and Call of Cthulhu RPG. Until next time, good luck. Good game.